celebrity involvement in wrestling. And there have been some swing and misses, and there's been some great ones, like Alice at WrestleMania 3, Cyndi
Yeah.
Lauper, what we saw
Jeez.
with Bad Bunny and Pat McAfee. And one that I was not into, Bully asked me about it earlier this week about Jelly Roll,
Mm.
and I was not into it. Like, I just was like, I'm not, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of his music. It just feels like a force feed because he's a big artist,
Yeah.
you know. And then I saw his interview yesterday with Pat McAfee, and he was on with Pat McAfee. And dude, I got to tell you, Nick, if you haven't seen it, watch it. He blew me away.
Wow.
Blew me away. Like, he talked about his love for professional wrestling. His mom used to take him to the matches like every other Saturday. He said this was the entertainment. His mom on Saturdays, they would either go to wrestling, OVW wrestling, or they would go to night court. They would go to they would actually go to night court and watch night court. That's a TV show, but actual
not
night court.
real night court.
So it's so that's what it'd be like. So either they went to wrestling or they would go to night court. But he loves professional wrestling. And then he talked about getting in shape, and it's amazing. He performed in Cleveland last year for SummerSlam. And then you look at him now, the amount of weight that he lost. And he said he's been living at the PC to get himself in shape for what he's going to do at SummerSlam. And as he was talking about SummerSlam and as he was talking about wrestling, now here's a guy that's a huge artist, like mainstream, big name artist.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking, and this is again, the opposite of Goldberg. He was talking about wrestling, not as a chore or a job or a way to take advantage of people and take time away from them on Saturday. He actually loves professional, loves it. And when Pat McAfee talked about SummerSlam, dude, he was actually shaking because he was so excited. And he was talking about this was his dream. He said he didn't grow up wanting to be a musician or a singer. He said because there was nobody in his family that did that. He grew up wanting to be a professional wrestler. So he's taking this so serious. And as he was talking about, he mentioned it. He said that he was training at the PC and The Undertaker came to watch. And the way he lit up talking about The Undertaker watched me and was giving me advice. Think about The Undertaker too. He said The Undertaker for 3 hours, him and Michelle stood outside the ring for 3 hours and they were yelling out advice. And then they talked to him afterwards. First of all, how great is that of The Undertaker to take his time out to help train him and give him advice? But the way he talked about The Undertaker and how his face lit up. Dude, I can't. Now I went from to now I can't wait to see Jelly Roll at SummerSlam.
Dude, how cool is that? Because that's what happens a lot. You're like, oh, this guy's doing this thing. Back when I was in WWE, they're like, hey, this guy's coming in. You're like, oh, God, this guy's pushing a movie. He doesn't care. Okay, hope he doesn't hurt anybody. Let's see what happens. And now it is such a cool mainstream thing when you're a fan like Jelly Roll. They're like, hey, I don't just want to be there. I want to dedicate the next few months of my life to making this moment that I have the best it possibly can be because I have so much respect for the business. I love it so much. I'm a fan. I wanted to do this. And now I get a shot. You get one shot. WrestleMania 3 or 4 or 5, when celebrities are coming out, they're probably, half drunk and just hanging around like, hey, happy to be here. That's great. And now the celebrity involvement in theory has become oh, the new cast for Jurassic Park is out, or this new person is taking over Batman, and you show them they're hitting the gym, they're bouncing around going, what can I do next? I was a fan my whole life. I studied the comic books. I did this. And it's so refreshing to see that. You don't have to do this. You could show up and be Jelly Roll, and everyone goes, yay, it's Jelly Roll, and he does a thing. But when you have so much respect for it, and you go, I got a shot at doing this cool-ass dream job that I had when I was a kid, and because of my celebrity status, I get a chance to do it. I want to do it the right way. I want it to be the best. I want people to go, he should have been doing this his whole life. When you love something, you dive in and you sink your teeth into it and you go, I want this to be the best. And I respect him so much for that. Again, Justin Roberts name drop. He took me to a Jelly Roll show, and the guy couldn't have been. This is before he was as big as he is now. It's 2-3 years ago, and he's becoming popular and ridiculously popular, but not everywhere like he is right now. And he couldn't have been more gracious and sweet and nice. Invited us back, was telling wrestling stories, but also kicked ass on stage and had all these great things to say about wrestlers and wrestling. And I go, man, I go, even if I hated your music, I would come to this show because you're a sweetheart. And as much as I'm a metal guy, there was a couple songs where I was like, oh, this rocks. Like, there's so many things that on the outside, I'm like, it's not going to be for me. Celebrity involvement, blah, blah, blah. I go, and when you find out there's someone that dedicate a chunk of their life to make this a beautiful moment, how do you not root for that guy? How do you not want to see him succeed?
Yeah, I tell you. And I was actually, it's funny how, the WWE preaches, all right, we're going to have celebrity involvement because maybe somebody who wouldn't normally watch or somebody who wouldn't normally go will because of the celebrity involvement.
Yeah.
And I always doubted that. I was always like, are people really, if they're not wrestling fans, they're not going to watch or they're not going to tune in. But I got to tell you, Jelly Roll is not on my, playlist on my phone. I don't listen to Jelly Roll. I listened to Jelly when I was in the shower this morning. I was listening to Jelly Roll, and I liked it. And I'm like, I never would have listened to his music if it wasn't for that interview with Pat McAfee. And again, Pat McAfee, first of all, Pat McAfee, and we know Pat McAfee for what he does with the WWE. And Pat McAfee, he's frantic and he's crazy, and we love that for him. Dude, Pat McAfee's a great interviewer. And the interview he did with Jelly Roll was one of the best interviews,
Yeah.
And hearing both those guys kind of talk about being outsiders and then dedicating themselves, because Pat McAfee did the same thing. But Jelly Roll was talking about, dude, you talk about Goldberg, the asshole, where he's talking about, Gunther giving him the chop, and I had to laugh it off because it didn't hurt.
Right.
You hear Jelly Roll with so much respect for everybody that's giving the time and for what he's doing in the ring. He was talking about how his neck is so sore in his back, and he talked about running the ropes, and he's like, dude, that was killing my back and the pain that he's in from doing that, putting over. And he said, he's like, man, I'm just visiting this world, and I'm in constant pain because my body still isn't used to this. And he goes, and you know what? I was an athlete and I played football, and nothing was like this. Putting over the hard work, Nick, that you do each and every week. That as a fan, I respect that. That's why, everybody's like, come on, get off of Goldberg. I'm sorry, I can't respect somebody like Goldberg when it's obvious he despises this industry. He despises it. But somebody like Jelly Roll who's not even involved in it, loves it as much as we as fans do. He's got my ultimate respect. I can't wait for him to kick ass at SummerSlam. And dude, you know what? If Jelly Roll's in my town, I'm buying a ticket and I'm going to go see Jelly Roll perform.
I love hearing that. Yeah, it's like that's the difference. Exactly like you said. Some people are here, some people are lucky, some people are coddled, some people it was their dream since they were 5 years old. Some people it was their secondary dream their whole life where they became famous in some other aspect. And we've had celebrities come and go a million times, and sometimes they're there because their publicist wants to push a movie and they're in the middle of a 8-day run, and this is the second thing they're doing on the day of 15 things, and they don't want to be there and they hate it, and you still get through it and you make it work. But then there's people like Hugh Jackman who grew up a wrestling fan. He's telling me and Zack Ryder this in WWE. What are we gonna do with this? I go, whoa, we've had some guest hosts and they were mad that they were there. This guy goes, I came when WWF came to town 30 years ago. I came in Australia. I watched them. What can I do? Can I do something this? Can I try this? So we figure something out and we get something to where he's going to punch me in the face and help Zack Ryder win a match. And we get to it and I go, hey, listen. He goes, so how do I, do you move your head or do I punch in front? I go, no. I go, this isn't a movie. You got to punch me in the face, man. And he's like, well, I know, but kind of half pull it. I go, no, there's not enough time to train you to be a professional wrestler. You need to punch me in the face. And I go, you half-ass this. and one of these 80 cameras picks up you missing me or half-ass it, and I sell it and walk away. I go, you have hurt the business. You've killed my career. There's no second take. There's no anything. I go, I need to know. And he goes, all right, I'm on it. I'm on it. We figured it out. It's going to be great. Right before we go out, I go, one last time. Pardon my French. I go, hey, listen, between you and me, if you don't punch me as hard as you can in the fucking face, you're going to kill this entire segment, and who knows what next. He goes, I'm on it. I got it, bro. I got you. I got you. Great. We go out there. We do our thing. Blah, blah, blah. The time is right. My hands are behind my back. I'm like sitting over the top rope, my chin out, like waiting to be smoked. Crunches me right in the jaw. I got a big jaw. I can take it. I'll be fine. Hit right in the jaw. We go into the Zack Ryder's finish. Zack Ryder wins. Yeah, they all celebrate. There, it's like People Magazine. It was a 2-page picture. His hand bending around, my jaw bending around his hand. He cracked me in the face. It was great. It was like 90% of a real punch to the face. Great shots of it. No cameras, caught anybody faking it. He couldn't have been more gracious. He was a sweetheart. He sent us like a case of beer afterwards or something. But that just goes to show when I'm like, I don't watch superhero stuff. But I was like, you know what, Hugh Jackman? All right, I'll check out Wolverine or something. Like, it happens when you see people dedicate themselves to something, even if it's a moment. It makes you go, I'm rooting for this guy. Yeah, I'll buy a ticket. And that's exactly the same case with Jelly Roll. I love that.
Yeah, just because he loves it as much as us fans do. Like,
Yes.
obviously, Nick, you look at it as a professional. Like, you're dedicating your life to this career. Don't come in here and half-ass it. Don't come in here and disrespect what we do, because we work our asses off each and every week, each and every night, to entertain people. So don't walk in like, all right, I'm some Hollywood superstar and this is beneath me to promote a movie or a TV show. And I'm sure there's a laundry list of people who did that.
Yeah, of
you were
course.
there during the time of those, mystery general managers. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that walked in and was like, what the fuck? And listen, it's either like a Jelly Roll or like when they were promoting that Three Stooges movie and the actors and then the place just booed the shit out of them because the fans do. Like, get the fuck out of here, Well,
Will Sasso's a big fan, but the other two weren't, and everybody was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, and they let them know, and I'm sure there was other ones. I'm sure there was other ones too.
And there's a couple that flew under the radar. They stood there, and it is much like when someone doesn't know what they're doing, and guys like me bump around or bounce around them and make it look like it was a good match. Like we've had a million of those, and people never could tell the difference. But there's so many people coming there. They're in the middle of it's like their third week of publicity because their movie's not doing that great. They have 6 hours of media all morning. They come in to do this thing. And they're like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying any of that. No, I'm not doing any of this. And they're fighting with their publicist while you're like, well, we're on in 20 minutes on a live television show, and I can only do so much, and I can't hit you because you'll sue me. So what are we gonna do here? And it's so many different times, and because of the absolute expertise of our guys and gals that are here for that, most people have no idea when it comes to that, which is great.
Was there one celebrity for you that you got to work around or work with that like you're like, holy shit, I'm getting the opportunity to work with so and so?
I mean, I know I just told that story with Hugh Jackman, but I was like, dude, Hugh Jackman is at the time the biggest movie star in the world, and he was just promoting a movie. And and he's punching me in the face. We're talking. I'm giving him pointers. I told him, don't you fucking mess this up for me, or I'll kill you. You'll kill our business. But it was like this cool moment. But he was so great about it that when you see someone else come in there with a different attitude, I can't go, I need you to do this right or whatever, because you can't trust them. You don't know. But what I'm telling you, Hugh Jackman, he was like, all right. He knew blocking for things, and he wanted to be involved in does this work here? If I do this, does this make sense? And I go, what? He must be a gem to work with in movies, and he's probably helping everybody out with the blocking and producing. He was so engulfed in this, and I wish I could remember more names, but he goes, when they came to town, I watched him, and he goes, he said he name dropped Brooklyn Brawler and somebody else, and I can't remember who. And I ran to Brooklyn Brawler, who was running pre-tapes at the time. I go, Brawler! I go, friggin' Jackman just said he was a fan, and you were the name that he talked about, and they got a picture together. And because to be fair, I love Brawler, but not a lot of people go, Brooklyn Brawler, that's my favorite wrestler or something. He name dropped Brawler, and I go, hell yeah, man, that's so cool. So that's got to be the best one. There's so many that were good and engulfed in it, but that, I got to be hands-on, cracked in the face, my hands down. So that's the best one. And then I think I said I might have a fractured jaw, and then WWE threatened to fire me. So yeah, it's another story for another day.
Wow.
I started wearing a mouth guard for the weekend just for fun. Anyway, it's great. Anyway, the lawsuit's still pending. I can't say too much. Just kidding.
Understood. But you saved the business though, and you got a wicked cool picture in People magazine.
Great picture. Yeah, I couldn't have been happier. And of course in that angle, like that's another one. Like they didn't want Zach to succeed. And they didn't want him to be bigger than he was supposed to be, and he was in the middle of it, and it was a beautiful thing to be a part of. So to watch that rise was cool as hell. The Rock, biggest movie star in the world, was in the ring at Survivor Series in New York, and they were chanting over him, "We want Ryder." Unreal.
Yeah.
What a time.
Again, and that's when you should go with it and go with what the fans want.
They did. They shoved him right off the stage.
Yeah.
In a wheelchair.